Welcome to MomTalk, the talk show for mom. I'm Geneviève Lefebvre, and I will be your host today. And I am with today Becca Lewis and Heather Fox. Hi, ladies.
Hey.
Hi. So today we're talking about how to recognize anxiety in children, and we are with Deborah MacNamara. Deborah is a clinical counselor, an author, and on faculty at Neufeld Institute. So hi, Deborah, welcome. It's awesome to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Anxiety, it's a big topic. We hear about it, and it is a real thing. So children and also adult moms, dads, everybody experience some level of anxiety. There's healthy anxiety, there's unhealthy anxiety, and there's everything in the middle, right? So, but today we're going to talk about how to recognize our children anxieties. So my first question for you today, Deborah, is what are the common signs that we can recognize in our children with anxiety?
Yeah, great. It is a big issue. I certainly would echo that. And it shows up in many different ways. And so sometimes it's harder to know or harder to understand that this is the root. The root is that a child is alarmed. And the brain has a very sophisticated alarm system, and it's meant to go off. And so it's not necessarily a bad sign that we have alarm. We do want to be alarmed sometimes. We want to be alarmed about a test, so we study. We want to be alarmed, so we look both ways before we cross the road. We want to be alarmed when we open our mouth sometimes, knowing that our words could hurt somebody. So alarm is an emotion that's meant to help us. However, sometimes that emotion can get a little stuck and very high. And there's different, and if you've ever had high levels of alarm, you know how uncomfortable that is. And that discomfort inside your body, you have different access to a different experience of that. So one of the things that we see when the body is experiencing a high level of alarm is you see more restlessness, you see more pursuit, you see more drivenness to cling, to clutch, to hold on. Maybe the child doesn't play quite the same way as anymore. Attention might be a little bit less focused. They might talk a little bit about being bored, but there's a sense of drivenness to stay close to their people as a source of comfort. And they just don't feel, I just don't feel okay. They might not necessarily know why. And we may feel the same, hard to concentrate and focus. It can show up in many different ways. But what you will see is this drivenness to stay close to the people that they seek comfort from or that represent safety to them. And so it's like, oh, okay. And, sometimes parents can feel, oh, it's too much, or, do you have to follow me to the bathroom? And, okay, we are going to go outside the house. Yes, we can do this. And why is it so hard to get out of the house now? And, there's all these things, but you'll sense it as a parent. You will know that your child seems more stirred up, and it's coming from the inside out. And that's what alarm feels like, looks like. And so just keep your eyes on taking the emotional pulse for your child. That would be key. The second thing that you might see is increased irritability. Little things just strike a chord in a bigger way. It's just like, the smallest thing you can't do. It's like, trying to do, if you're alarmed and you're trying to cook and you can't find your measuring cups, it's like somehow a big deal. It's the same thing for kids, having a test you have to do, or not being able to find your favorite jacket, or a sibling takes something of yours. You might see an extra irritability or heightened response and frustration. And you'd be like, why are the little things seeming so big? Well, the child's under a lot of emotional stress already. Things are stirring them up. And so small little things kindle a big reaction. So sometimes a lot of our frustration and temper tantrums, if you see a spike in it, it could be driven from the same source emotionally, that a child's just stirred up. They're facing something that's difficult, or a whole bunch of things that have added up to be really difficult. And the third thing that often I see, particularly with kids under the age of 10, is just more difficulty in transitions. So they might not, bedtime's the biggest transition. So you see nightmares, you can see trouble going to sleep, trouble staying asleep, or early wakening, getting up earlier. You can see difficulty being dropped off at daycare and preschool where there wasn't difficulty before, or going to school. You can see huge school refusal. In fact, one of the biggest things I see right now in working with educators as well as with parents is a lot of school refusal. And that's actually in some of our older kids too, 10, 11, 12. We're getting a lot right now as a repercussion of COVID and during COVID. And so this is an alarm based response. Often something is stirring the child up and they don't feel safe. Doesn't mean they're not safe. It's just that the brain has got orders that you're not safe. So transitions can be really difficult. Getting out of the house can be very difficult. Doing the same things that you love to do, like your soccer game or your swim class, seem to be extra difficult. And then parents are like, what is going on? Why is everything so hard? How can I help this child? And oftentimes we'll ask them what's wrong. But if the alarm is too high, kids oftentimes don't know what's wrong. We oftentimes don't know what's wrong. If your child can actually tell you what's wrong and it seems to be like the source of it, then the alarm isn't really that high. They're just telling you, I'm afraid, I've got this kid, they sit beside me, I'm afraid this is going to happen. And they're very clear about what it is. That's a very easy problem to solve. When alarm gets too high, it becomes more difficult. Why? Because the child is so stirred up, they're blinded almost to the source of it. And that's not a mistake. That's not a broken child or a broken brain or a broken emotional system. That's actually a beautiful emotional system that's doing its job. The child can't see necessarily what it is that's stirring them up as much because it enables them to be a little bit more preserved and protected from what it is that's alarming. So that's a very quick snapshot of the neuroscience, developmental psychology, and emotional understanding of alarm. But I hope it resonates.
I like what
Yeah,
you said about I like what you said about like when they're so triggered, they can't not even sometimes voice it. And sometimes I've seen this so many times and I've done it myself as a mom. Like, why are you not answering me? What's happening? Tell me. I can't help you if you're not telling me. But I feel like if you reflect on this, then wait a second. Maybe my child needs space a little bit. Let's actually experience something less like stressful or less less of a trigger of anxiety for them and revisit this later, then maybe now there's a little bit more time, more space, or maybe, I don't know, is it something that they actually can't even like go there and explain in the future? I don't know.
Well, I think your instincts are right and you're following the right direction. That if a child is alarmed, what's your instinct as a parent? Your own alarm makes you want to give more 20 questions, right? But actually, what you're saying and what you said so beautifully is you counter that and said, no, actually, I think they need less. And that's exactly it. If you're alarmed already, you don't want to add to it. You want to back up, give some space, maybe provide some room for expression somehow. Sit back and think a little bit. How do I make this child's world less alarming? How do I offer connection? How do I create some more safety in the context of my relationship? How do I have patience here? How do I not let my own emotions run away with them? And yes, of course, when the brain is able to come to some rest and able to process the emotion, then yes, sometimes we can actually find our words. The challenging thing is that what alarms you can be greatly separated from when you become aware of it. And so there is this lag. And the good news is that you actually don't always have to be aware of how the alarm was stirring you up or what the source is in order to be able to move forward. We are capable of great courage. We are capable, a child over the age of 5 to 7 is capable of great courage. No preschooler is, they're not ready yet, brain development wise. But we can face difficult things and heal from them and have courage in the face of great things that are difficult, and find our way through. So we don't even necessarily need to find our words for all of them. So don't panic on that front as well. But your instincts are right. They need less. I need to back up. I need to think. I need to give them more of me. And yes, we're going to bide our time here. Emotions will settle, right? Emotions can come back. And we can talk a little bit more about what it is that we're afraid of potentially.
Mhm.
Mm. That's really interesting and great ways to support a child. And I love how you said that, when the child's anxious, the parent is likely anxious too, wanting to know how they can help and how they can fix it. What would be some things you would say to a parent to, help support them on their anxiety through this
Yeah,
when
well,
this happens?
I think you said it well in the sense that we are very alarmed as parents. If you care about your kids, you're going to be alarmed. So, first thing I want to tell you, which you may not hear anywhere, is that you are an incredible source to your child in terms of comfort and healing through relationship. Please don't think that you can't offer your child something significant here that can help them through this. We've been parenting children long before their parenting books and experts and beautiful podcasts like this one. And we found our way through. Why? Because we had human connection and caring, and we found our way through. And so I just want to assure you of that, because I think oftentimes when your child is alarmed, you think you've done something wrong, or you're a bad parent, or you're not good enough. Actually, their alarm may have nothing to do with you. Nothing. But you have to be the answer to it. That's the responsibility. So that's the first message I want to send to parents is you are the answer. And even if you have contributed to it, you can do something tomorrow that's very different. It's okay. We can change course. So that's the first thing. So pulling them closer, building relationship, collecting them, getting in their face in a friendly way 4 to 6 times a day. If a child's really clinging and clutching, take the lead on it. Come on, where's my buddy? I got to go get the laundry. Come on, I need someone to hold this. Do you think you're big enough to help me get all the stuff out of the dryer? Now, that's probably not going to work with your teenager. No teenager's going to do that with you. But a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old might actually think it's kind of cool. Come on, I got to go shopping. I can't go without you. And by the way, you need to stay very close to me when we're in the store, okay? And they already are because they're clinging and clutching, but you're making it your idea. Come on. And you're welcoming it. You're inviting it because you know that when your child is close to you, you're the source of safety. So you're saying, of course I am. Be arrogant. Take the lead. Yeah. I've missed you hanging onto my leg like that. Yes. Right. Away we go. I mean, don't say that. That's metaphorical. And that's the first thing. And just have a big invitation and don't convey to them that their feelings are too big, too much, too difficult. Yeah, you're just having big feelings right now. They come up, they come down. We can get through this. It's all right. Mom's here, dad's here. We've got you. Here's the dog. Also, playing with them is wonderful for emotional expression. And I would say if you can find times to play alarm-based games, hide and seek, wrestling in many ways. People think, oh, I'm teaching them how to be aggressive. No, actually, we're just expressing what's there. And obviously, as an adult, you have limits and stuff. But try to find some games that add a little bit of alarm to them, maybe a board game or something with winning and losing. Something that isn't too provocative, but helps draw out some of those alarm-based emotions. Hide and seek is one of the best games ever. And then the other thing is just bridge the distance between you and your child wherever you're going. Your child will need to go to school potentially. Your child needs to go to daycare, or we do need to go to bed. So when you're going to bed, same kind of thing. Lots of contact and closeness. They may need you to fall asleep. You may decide if you don't sleep with them, maybe you're going to move into their room for a little bit to help them with this. Or maybe, you just offer a little bit more generosity at night and don't make them feel responsible or like, oh gosh, and this. The more that is a burden to them, the more emotions are going to be stirred up. So your job is to take the lead. I've got you. This is just big feelings coming out. You're in safe hands. A few more songs, a few more games, before bed. Sing them their old lullabies. Again, if they're not your teenager, give it a try if it's your teenager. It might be kind of a funny experiment. Teenagers are another whole scenario in many ways. And bridging is essentially trying to hold on through the separation. So you're saying, okay, in the morning, because kids who have quite high anxiety will say, what's the plan for tomorrow? Where are you going to be? And they're usually trying to play 20 questions with you. So get ahead of it. Orient them before they're starting to ask you questions. So this is what we're doing. This is where you're going. This is who you're going to be with. This is what we're eating. And tomorrow we're wearing red. And you can, make a bit of a game or fun out of it. But just I've got you, right? And not in an oppressive way, but just you're orienting the child. I'm taking the lead. I'm here with you. I understand. And so what you're doing is you're closing the gap between the separations and you're focusing on connection, on the next point of connection. you know, in the morning it's Wednesday, it's going to be waffles, right? And or when you're sleeping, I come and put a picture book underneath your pillow. Or if it's an older child, you know, you're saying I leave a little note for you underneath your pillow to read. Or, you know, I come in and check on you, and you were, you know, you're snuggled up with your teddy bear, you had the covers off everywhere and had to put them on. And what it conveys to a child is that I'm here. I'm here and I've got you. Bridging puts the focus on connection and not separation. Alarm is based in separation. Something can happen to me, my loved ones, or I'm going to lose something that's important here to me, or something bad's going to happen. So what you're saying is essentially, I'm here, I've got you covered. And bridging, you're closing those gaps. And then finally, you know, who are they being left with? This is really important. If they're not with you and you're the source of safety, are they with people? Match make them to the people that they are with. So match make them to their daycare provider, with their teachers. You know, many times, especially with school refusal, I'll ask, and, you know, thank goodness we've got incredible teachers who are continually asked to do more and more and more. But simple things, can they come in 3-5 minutes early and just help you with something, get their bag settled? I can do one-on-one hello with the teacher, place them right into the teacher's hands, instead of that alarm sort of that happens on the playground. But whatever you have to do is just hand them directly into the hands of the people that are responsible for them, not another child. No other child should carry the emotional weight of another child, but into the hands of the adults who are responsible. And the principal's there and your teacher's there, and they know if you need me that I'm here and they'll help you. And I don't send you anywhere that you're not going to be safe or taken care of. I would say taken care of, but instead of safe, because we can't promise such things. But you know, I don't send you to any adults that can't take care of you or don't know how to get a hold of me. So you're basically just trying to surround the child with a sense of you in the most kind, caring way, and taking the lead and closing the gap on separation, and providing lots of room for play. And play is as the child's therapy as much as you can. And that's true for adolescents as it is true for us. We all need more play. In play, emotions come out that you don't have to look at so directly. Laughter discharges incredible amounts of emotion. I'm just starting to do some research on how it equates with crying. Is it as good as a good cry? I actually think laughter is as good as a good cry, to be honest with you. I have just from personal experience. But there is something different too about sadness, getting to, you know, the futility of things and accepting what you can't change. But play allows for tons of those emotions that are stirred up to come out, and they do settle, and a child is able to look at them one step removed and sort through them and feel a sense of agency around them. So you don't have to get in there and, you know, start talking about what they're playing. But if you know you're getting them to the play and to their emotional expression, you're doing, I mean, if you did all that, whoa, you'll be on your way.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful to listen to you talk. Heather, do you have a quick question?
I just relate to so much right now. Just Hudson has been dealing with actually quite a bit of anxiety since we moved this past year. And so we've been doing counseling, we've been just doing a lot of things to, again, just bring that connection back. But, you know, and what you said earlier about those, you know, things that we kind of recognize for him, it was the explosiveness. All of a sudden it was like, where did that come from? Like 2 seconds ago he was happy as a lark, and the next thing I know is like he looks like he's the Hulk and he's like throwing things across the room. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. Yeah, and he became very physical with like furniture and toys, his sister, me. We were like, what's going on? But, and then as you mentioned too, that separation at sleep, he refused to go to bed. He did not want to disconnect. And he just wanted to stay up forever and be with us. And he would just keep himself up till he like finally fell asleep at like 5 a.m. or something crazy like that. So just, there's been a lot of healing going on, a lot of work. And so everything you've been saying is just, yeah.
Well, and you know firsthand as a parent,
Yeah.
how hard that walk is and how baffling it can be, and yet we find our way through. We keep working at it. We love our kids and we keep finding our way through, and we have to remember that it's not about you know, like development is kind, and development solves our problems and helps a child grow. And so I think many times we get worried that, oh my goodness, this is their life path. This is somehow, changed them. I mean, of course it changes us, but not necessarily all for the bad. These emotions come up because they're trying to communicate messages. And so what are the messages that they're sending, and how then do we respond to change a child's world? Like, it would be way worse not to have those messages, because we'd never have any signals that we needed to actually look at the stuff that we need to do differently for a child, or create a different environment, for our children outside the home. So as painful as it is sometimes and worrying, again, come back to that. You are going to find your way through. You keep at it, and you remember that you are the answer. Your son felt safe when he was with you. That's the whole point. And from there you go.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
so I
you,
wish you
Deborah.
all the best on that journey with him. I'm sure many parents will resonate with that.
Yes, I think we all struggle with bedtime and separation and trying to bridge it. And then I think when you actually understand the concept of it, this is what I'm doing, and this is just to bring my child from this step to this step. And I like how you bring them closer to you, use play. And I think the way you describe it, Deborah, it's great, because I think to me, it brings some simpleness to things, like now I know what I'm doing, and take step 1, 2, 3, and let's go with this. And if it doesn't work, try again. Yeah. All right. Well, Deborah, thank you so much for this podcast. Where can we find you?
Online.
Yes.
On Zoom. So MacNamara.ca is my website. There's also resources through the Neufeld Institute.org, and I'm on social media and stuff, and I try to post when I can. And would welcome connecting with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Deborah, again for joining us today. To reach us or to view all our available episodes, please visit our website at mom-talk.ca, or visit the MomTalk YouTube channel or all the other podcast platform. The MomTalk show, previously called a Parent Talk Podcast and Les Parents Parlent Balado, is a bilingual show. So check out our great content in both English and French. If you're an expert in the parenting world, please visit the Contact Us section on our website at mom-talk.ca. We want to have you on the show. Come and visit us. So Mom Talks would like to thank our generous sponsors, Tri-Cities Community Television and La Société Francophone de Maillardville. If you know a mom that would benefit from this episode, please share this episode with her. Spread the love. We want to help one another. Always remember, it's important to laugh, keep learning, cherish your village, and be true to yourself. So thank you for joining us. And from Becca, Heather, and I, Geneviève, thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.